You may never have heard of Mike Gravel, let alone know that he's a Democratic presidential candidate. But more people are aware of the former senator now than they were earlier last week. That's because Gravel frequently upstaged fellow Democrats during the first 2008 presidential debate. Listen to some of the zingers Gravel aimed at his far better known rivals.
I got to tell you, after standing up with them, some of these people frighten me. They frighten me. I'm the senior statesman on here, and I was beginning to feel like a potted plant standing over here. Who the hell are we going to nuke?
Senator,
tell me, Barack. Barack? Who are you want to nuke?
I'm not planning to nuke anybody right now, Mike. I promise you.
And joining us now, the man who made those comments, former Democratic Senator Mike Gravel. He's a Democratic presidential candidate. Senator, thanks for coming into the Situation Room.
Thank you for having me, Wolf.
Are you surprised by the reaction to some of those sound bites from the other night?
Yes, in fact, it was like a juggernaut of reaction coming at us. Very pleasant, I must say, because I was an unknown to a lot of people. Now, back in 71 and 72, I was not an unknown because Nixon was chasing me up the ladder to the Supreme Court.
I'm old enough to remember.
Yeah. But no, it's a pleasant surprise. People are reacting. We're raising more money. People are coming into the campaign. I personally feel I can win. But the key is to tell the people the truth. We've got a country that's got problems, and the tipping point could be 08.
All right, let's get into some of the specifics. Here's another clip of what you said last Thursday night. I want to play it, and then I want you to get some explanation.
We have no important enemies. Who are we afraid of? Who are you afraid of? But, Brian, I'm not.
All right, I heard that. A lot of viewers out there heard that. There are enemies the United States has. Al-Qaeda, they hate us. That's an enemy.
We make our enemies. That's the unfortunate part of it. If you as a person, you don't have enemies. You may have people dislike you, but if you go hate them, they're going to be your enemies. If you do things to them, they're going to be your enemies. And so we have to approach world affairs as Americans equal to everybody else and treat them equally, and you'll find that we're not going to have as many enemies as we think we have.
But Osama bin Laden...
He's a nutcase, and if he could get snuffed out, no big deal. Won't miss him.
You'd be in favor of killing him.
Understand power.
I want to read to you what George Tenet, the former CIA director, writes in his new book. He says, I am convinced that this is where Osama bin Laden and his operatives desperately want to go. They understand that bombings by cars, trucks, trains, and planes will get them some headlines, to be sure, but if they manage to set off a mushroom cloud, they will make history. And he adds this, I do know one thing in my gut, Al-Qaeda is here and waiting. That's a chilling statement that they are patiently waiting, potentially, to unleash some sort of nuclear device in our country.
It's my guess also that that's accurate, and it's frightening. And are we doing the right things to provide that not happen? I don't think so.
What should we be doing?
Well, our defense right now is set piece war, putting people in the field. Now, the whole terrorism issue can be addressed with intelligence, and that's where the CIA doesn't do a good enough job. Covert intelligence and a global police action. War, the minute they started war, you're opening up the Pandora's box. Terrorism has been with us since the beginning of civilization. It'll be there a long time after we're gone. There's different types of terrorism. But Al-Qaeda is a serious situation, and we have to treat it seriously. And I don't think all the devices that we're doing are doing that.
You agree with your fellow Democratic candidate, Dennis Kucinich, that it's time to impeach the Vice President of the United States?
No. I don't. I think that, first off, it's not going anywhere.
His impeachment articles.
It's not going anywhere. You know, Pelosi's in charge of the House. Conyers I've met with. I have my own take on certain strategies that should be done, and I'll be releasing that in a month, piece of legislation. I think that they're not good strategists right at the moment.
If Hillary Clinton, who's the front runner right now in all of the polls, gets the Democratic presidential nomination, could you support her?
I've stated, first thing, right at the Democratic winter meeting, that I do not feel, and I don't want to address the support or not support, I do not feel that a person who voted for the war, because that's a judgment call, is qualified to be President of the United States. 50 million Americans made an opposite decision. 50 million Americans had better judgment than Hillary did. That doesn't make her a bad person. It's just that she doesn't have the judgment, in my mind, to be president.
So John Edwards, when he was in the Senate, voted for that resolution as well. So did Joe Biden and Chris
Dodd.
Dodd.
Cleans up the.
Barack Obama was not in the Senate, but he did oppose it.
Fine, but Barack Obama may have some other holes someplace.
I'm trying to find out, because you're still a long shot to get the
Yes.
presidential nomination.
That's right.
You're not very well known right now. If one of these other front runners gets the nomination, will you support them?
I will be the nominee, and Wolf, you're helping that happen right now.
Because you're on television.
Correct.
And explain the statement that you made right at the beginning of this interview when you said they frighten me.
Oh, and hey, very, very serious, very serious. They have all made statements that with respect to Iran, everything is on the table.
No options.
That's code. That's code for nukes. Now, thank God, Cy Hirsch and some intelligence officer had the moral conscience to feed him the information to expose the plans of possibly nuking Iran. Now, they're going for nuclear devices because they're afraid of us, and they know that the only defense you can have is to get nukes. That's how the whole club started. Why do we have nuclear devices? For defense. And it's wrong. We got so many, we could nuke everybody in the world several times. One Trident submarine can hold the entire world hostage.
So you're afraid of all these Democratic candidates. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm afraid that they're not using good judgment because there's nobody to nuke. Even if Al-Qaeda dropped a nuclear device in a suitcase somewhere, where are you going to go nuke? You're going to nuke half of Pakistan? This is what people don't realize. When you're talking about, and we've started, this administration and part the last administration, we started an arms race in space. We're beginning an arms race with China and Russia right now. Putin is right. What in God's name are we putting devices in Czech and in Poland?
Missile defense system.
Well, and we're saying it's because of Iran. My God, we could have a submarine in the Persian Gulf and destroy all of Iran. So it's a race, and Putin, they feel insecure.
So if you're president of the United States, what do?
They'll be out.
You destroy all U.S. nukes?
No, I'm not foolish. No, we bring it down. We try to give example to the rest of the world that the world has to get off of nukes. But we could cut our nuke arsenal in half unilaterally, and it wouldn't affect one bit our capability to defend ourselves.
Former Senator Mike Gravel wants to be president of the United States. Thanks for coming in.
Wolf, thank you for having me.